मैंने बोला कि फ्री पास के बदले हम ईबीसी करते हैं, ईबीसी को प्रायोरिटी देता है.
Judging my pace from last 2 days, he was not even sure कि मैं एक भी पास कर पाऊंगी. He completely lost confidence in me. And on hearing this from him, I felt dejected. I felt deeply dejected.
पर मैम ने बोला नहीं, मेरे को पासेस चाहिए, मेरे को पासेस इम्पोर्टेंट है.
Good morning. Today is day 4 of the trek और आज हम लोग जाने वाले हैं नामची से खुमजुंग और ब्रेकफास्ट कर लिया है. बैग सब पैक है और आज हाइक छोटा है, मैक्सिमम 3 hours. We will be gaining 300 meter elevation. After breakfast, we visited Namche Museum, which is popular for its newly built statue of Tenzing Norgay. So Tenzing Norgay was the first Sherpa to reach to the summit of Mount Everest in 1953. So after spending some time, our guide showed us the route to Khumjung, which started with an ascent. And that ascent was steep, so steep. I was awestruck and I was wondering that how we are going to climb this. I literally took baby steps. So step by step, I kept climbing. And I had this moment of realization that if you really want to go high, you need to slow down. You really need to slow down. As I was gaining elevation, my heart was racing faster and faster and faster. It was just day 4 and I started to notice many changes in my body and in my health. I started coughing, I caught up with running nose, and I promised myself that no matter what, I'm going to listen to my body and act accordingly. I kept sipping water, took multiple breaks, and kept my pace slow and consistent. I saw many people who were on the EBC route and using this ascent as their acclimatization hike. But for us, it was not an acclimatization hike because we were going to Khumjung, we were on the way to Khumjung. After climbing this mountain, the route was almost flat, followed by descents. And there we were at Khumjung. Khumjung is a small village but extremely beautiful. In fact, the tea house there was the best one I had stayed in this entire trip. The food was amazing, the rooms were amazing, the amenities there were amazing. So morning we started around 8:30 और अभी 12 बज रहे हैं. This is a very nice tea house. बहुत ही अच्छा, इतना अच्छा कि इसे देख के I have decided that I'll take a hot shower here. So finally I took a hot water shower, and the best part was जो ये tea house चलाते हैं, they offered me a hair dryer so I can dry my hair. Otherwise इतनी ठंड में मतलब डे टाइम पे 2 degrees है तो बाल सूखते ही नहीं हैं. And in the evening we walked up to the Khumjung monastery where a yeti skull was preserved. And then we were back at the tea house and I had really nice sleep that night. So today is day 5 of the trek और आज हम लोग खुमजुंग से थामे जाएंगे. Trek moderate है. In last 2 days we have gained more than 1300 meter elevation. So we have to take it slow rather than rushing. कहीं दूर. And I started to feel this happiness from inside because with every step we were getting closer and closer to the mountains, and the route started to change. It was no longer like where there was a lot of people and a lot of tea houses and shops on the way. So the route started to change. We saw many yaks on the way. I think this was the last day when I saw vegetation, and post this there were no plants, no trees, no flowers, only nature in her raw form, in her purest form. It took me 6 hours to hike almost 13.5 kilometers, and on reaching Lumde I relaxed at the tea house. Day 6 of the trip और आज हम लोग निकलेंगे थामे से लुम्डे के लिए. So day by day it was getting colder, and I think the orange jacket which I wore on that day continued till I reached Namche again. From Namche onwards I started covering my face because of 2 major reasons. One, because it was very dusty, and second, because of the protection from the sun. But the third reason that Shambhu told me, and which was very relevant and I never thought of, was that the wind over there was so cold that if I start to breathe that cold air, my lungs will go for a toss. Of course, it was very difficult initially, but then in few days I got used to it. After few hours, the trail changed drastically. It was just rocks and stones and sand and grains, and you know that now you are going up and you are disconnecting from the real world. And the minute you see a helicopter, because there were so many helicopters, so the minute you see it, you know that some evacuation has happened. So that was the mental thing going in my mind, that okay, I'm moving up, but I'm disconnecting myself from all the facilities, all the amenities, and things are going to be difficult from now onwards. The weather changed. It was super cold, but I was so surprised when I received this hot towel before my dinner. And I think that's the best part of these treks, that you go with zero expectations, and then even a small gesture like this would then surprise and delight you. And then finally, the day arrived. So day 7 of the trip. Today we'll be crossing first Everest High Pass, which is Renjo La Pass. भगवान से यही दुआ है कि ठीक ठाक हम लोग गोक्यो पहुंच जाए. So our guide explained that there were 3 phases to crossing the Renjo La Pass. The first phase is like a steep incline, which is like 70-degree incline. Then the second phase is a flat area, but then you have to go behind the mountain. And then the third phase, which is another steep incline, almost 90 degrees, to reach to the top of Renjo La Pass. And once you are at the top of Renjo La, then it's complete descent till you reach Gokyo lakes. I was determined. I invested all my energies and all my strength in climbing the first phase, which was very tough.
Oh, Rabji, 1 hour 45 minutes. और बस हम पहाड़ चढ़ रहे थे चढ़े ही जा रहे थे. तो हम पूरा वहाँ से पहले एक ऐसे पहाड़ था, फिर उसके बाद ये वाला, फिर ऐसे और ऊपर.
It was tough. It was very, very tough. And by the time we reached the phase 2, which is the flat area, the sun was shining bright. It was getting warmer and warmer. But then you cannot remove the jacket because it's too windy at the same time. So you need to have that right balance. And I was very tired. I took multiple breaks. I was getting cramps in my legs, and my legs were literally trembling. Raghav realized that I was struggling, and he gave me this energy tablet, water bottle, and he said, keep sipping it and keep walking. And that actually helped me immensely. So when I was packing, I never thought of taking any energy tablet or energy drink. I took some chocolates with me, but I completely forgot about hydration tablets or any drink that can help my muscles get hydrated. And it's very important to have these things with you when you go for these extreme treks.
रेंजो ला पास हमारा सबसे फर्स्ट रेंजो ला पास था. रेंजो ला पास बहुत हार्ड हुआ हमारे लिए, क्योंकि मैम का स्पीड थोड़ा स्लो था. इसलिए मेरे को अंदर से डाउट था कि ये कर पाएगी नहीं कर पाएगी ये रेंजो ला.
Honestly, I felt that I underestimated crossing the passes because earlier I had done Quarry Pass and I felt that I could do this easily. But trust me, trekking in Himalayan region is very, very different. I failed to realize, one, that I was already at a high altitude, and the second thing was that I was doing it clockwise. You remember I mentioned earlier that mostly people do it in anti-clockwise direction, but I was doing it clockwise, which is more steeper and more challenging. And then there I was standing right in front of phase 3, and I could see the mountain standing tall in front of me like a giant wall. And I asked Shambhu कि कहाँ जाना है? He's like, वहाँ ऊपर जाना है, that's the top. And I was like, कैसे जाना है? Because I just could not see any path. There was no route. It was like just mountain standing tall in front of you like a huge wall. Looking at that, my energy completely dropped. And as I was hiking, I was questioning myself that why am I even doing this? Do I want to validate anything? Do I want to prove anything? Do I want to show anything to someone or to the world? Why am I even here? Like, why am I even doing this trek? I started questioning myself. And the worst part was that I was not getting any answer.
खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है, फिर भी ऊपर जाना है.
I was so upset that I got into this self-introspection mode, and I started even questioning that why did I choose Everest High Passes Trek? I could have easily done EBC just like how most of the people do. Just try to imagine my state of mind, and this mental block reduced my pace further. I was completely demotivated, completely depressed, but then there was no going back. I had no choice but to move forward.
Welcome to reality, there's no way back. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. Welcome to reality, there's no way back.
I had to climb, so I kept going one step at a time. I started at 5:30 a.m. in the morning, and at 2:30 p.m. I was at the top of Renjo La. It took me 9 hours to reach to the top of Renjo La Pass. Renjo La was very challenging, especially the phase 3 of Renjo La Pass. And actually that phase 3 had like 3 ascents, very steep ascents. It was like climbing 3 mountains in that one phase. But the view from Renjo La Pass is the best in the entire trekking zone, where you get to see Mount Everest, Lhotse, Choyo and several other high mountains in one panoramic view. Somehow I decided that I need to calm myself down, and I decided to sit down and just meditate on Om mantra. And then when I opened my eyes after 10 minutes of that Om chanting, I had a completely different perspective. I felt so connected with nature, and I realized that isn't that the best thing, to have no answers to all the questions I was asking myself throughout the way. I was questioning myself that why am I doing this? Why am I here? And then I realized, isn't that the best thing, to take on something so challenging like this without any interest, without any ulterior motives, with no hidden agendas, with no greed of getting name and fame. It was like giving your pure self to the Mother Nature and into the mountains. So after spending some quality time at the top of Renjo La Pass, we started to descend, and it took us 4 hours to reach Gokyo. It was dark and we were walking with headlamps. The total distance that I traveled that day was little more than 20 kilometers, and I took 30 hours to cross the Renjo La Pass. It was a long day. I just wanted to eat and sleep. The next day was acclimatization day at Gokyo, but our guide was unhappy with us, with our pace.
और टॉप पे जाने के लिए हमको 9 आवर लगा। उधर से फिर गोके जाने के लिए हमको 4 आवर्स लगा। टोटल होगा 13 आवर्स।
Will there be change in plan or not? So I was not sure what will happen.